God Talk Unfiltered.
Hi, guys. I can't believe I'm up here right now. Was invited by a friend and didn't know what I was getting into. Um, so my story basically is how my decision to follow God changed my life. Um, so people that know me now wouldn't recognize the same person that I was, I would say, 20 years ago. Um, my life before was chaos. Living in a world of constant obsession with drugs and alcohol. And this started at a very young age. I was caught smoking when I was in third grade. So that kind of gives you the beginning of how things were in elementary school. High school, it was normal, right? You know, to drink on the weekends. But for me, there was no stopping. Like, I don't remember ever a time saying like, oh, I'm good, I had enough. There was never a time. There was always like, there's more. And then when I got into college, I started smoking, pot a lot during high school. But college, it was like a given. I thought it was helping me study and do well in my testing, because I really studied really hard for biology tests and got like a C. I was disappointed. And then one night we were sitting in a circle in my dorm room and passing the pipe around. And I got a B+ on that final. So I'm like, oh, this is it. This is the way to, get through college. And unfortunately, I didn't know how to stop. There was no, like, when I got to a point where I realized that it was taking over my life, I would get up and say, not today. But then, whether it was a good day or a bad day, I always ended up in the same direction. So my husband and I, we got married. We've been married 17 years now. And I was doing all this behind his back. Like, he would get bottles, like, for gifts. Like, I never understood how people could have bottles in their, like, you go into homes and, like, they have stashed the bottles. I'm like, how do they leave them all full? Like, I never understood that concept, but I had a problem. There's others, there's people that don't have the same problem that I do. So he would go through the closet like, here's an empty bottle of tequila, here's another empty bottle of tequila. I'm like, well, what are you supposed to do with them? You got to drink them, that's what they're for. But then it comes to a point where, I always believed in God. But then I was introduced to a couple that talked to me about Jesus and having a relationship. So it was always kind of in the back of my mind. We bounced around to different churches. I ended up at the church that I'm at now, and they're always encouraging small groups to get to know, because you're in a church and it's a large community of people, and in groups you get more personal, and you do the one another's with those in the small groups. And I'm going to these groups and I'm like, I was such a hypocrite, you know what I mean? Like, I was two-faced. I was living one life, like putting on a show for one, living a different life, and I'm like, what am I doing here? Why? But the Holy Spirit was stirring my heart and caused me to start confessing and talking to others like, you know what, I think I have a problem, because I want to stop and I can't. I don't know, I was afraid to live. I didn't know what normal was. I'd been living this obsession for so long, I didn't know what a normal life was. So in talking to others, I ended up getting some help, but the bottom line was dedicating my life to God and giving every single day from the time I get up to the time I go to bed to live for Him. And with the help of my support groups, between my small groups, those at church, my husband, I can have a life today that I didn't have before. I'm present. Like, when I'm communicating with my kids, when I'm at home, when I'm at work, I know what's going on. I don't have to like think back to the night before and say, what the heck did I do? Or where did I leave that bottle that I started? So I am grateful for people in my life that don't give up. And I guess that's what I want to share too, because I know right now in our culture there's a lot of addiction, and it really is one's choice. However, that support, like, don't give up and just keep praying for your loved ones. And I would just, I thank God that I'm here today and that I have the life that I have, and I'm thankful for the friends and the support. So thank you.